Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. Judges. By J.N. Darby. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, truly furnished unto all good works. 2 Timothy 3 verses 16 and 17. Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. By John Nelson Darby. Judges, chapters 17 to 21. Iniquities which required discipline. The chapters that follow, Judges 17 to 21, are not comprised in the historical order of this book. They lift the veil to disclose some incidents of the inner life of these people whom the patience of God bore with so long, touched with the afflictions of his people in the sufferings occasioned by their sins. Had they been obedient when Jehovah was their king, their prosperity had been secure. Self-willed as they were, the absence of restraint, when they had no king, gave room to all kinds of license. The last event, related in this book, shows to what a height disorder had risen in Israel and how they fell away immediately from God. But it affords a very important lesson. If the state of God's people collectively gives rise to iniquities which require discipline, the whole people are involved in the chastisement that follows, the effect of which is to make them take their condition to heart. That condition had prevented the repression of iniquity, or its immediate punishment when committed. But the people are set in the presence of God, who judges the whole matter, and all the people must have to do with it. Defeat allowed and victory given. Israel at first did not even take counsel with Jehovah to learn how the sin should be dealt with. They acted from natural indignation, which was nevertheless quite righteous. Jehovah allowed all this in order that the people might learn where they were. The evil which required chastening had so blunted their spiritual state that they had not the thought of waiting in the first place on Jehovah to know what was to be done. Their course of action is determined before they consult him, for they were far from him. They merely ask who is to go up first. Jehovah points out Judah, but Judah is defeated. Twice beaten when they expected an easy victory, the people humbled and in tears have recourse again to Jehovah, and inquire if they shall go up. Jehovah then gives them the victory. Gibeah well deserved this discipline, but, to execute it, Israel itself needed discipline, and God allowed all to take part in it in order to make it take effect upon all. God's patient dealings in his omniscience. But what a state are they all in, when the whole tribe of Benjamin joined the men of Gibeah, when guilty of such enormities. And observe, that Phinehas was still a high priest, although he had already grown to manhood in the wilderness. How patiently God dealt with this people, delivering them when they had so quickly fallen into sin and into such depths of sin. What does God not see in this world, and even in his people? It is important to note this bringing to light of that inward state which, in the general history, is not done. It sheds a much fuller light on the ways of God. But it must be remarked that this is disaster and shame within, and from within, and under God's hand, but not a judgment by enemies without through departure from God himself.